one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it because you can.
This story comes to us from ABC News, and I waited to do this story so that I could read dozens of comments on social media from the public regarding this incident, and I wanted to await the press conferences. Now, links to the press conferences from the San Bernardino County Sheriff and the San Bernardino County District Attorney are in the description box. So, the story: a sheriff's deputy died in a police chase after his patrol car crashed into a bystander's car and then slammed into a light pole, splitting the vehicle in half. Now, the chase began on Monday morning this last week, shortly before 11 a.m. in San Bernardino, California, when law enforcement received a call about a possible stolen vehicle that was spotted by a deputy on duty from the Victorville station. Now, deputies attempted a traffic stop, but the suspect, Ryan Turner, failed to yield and a pursuit ensued. That's a statement from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. It goes on. During the pursuit, Deputy Hector Cuevas Jr. was involved in a traffic collision with another vehicle. During the police pursuit, Cuevas crashed near the intersection of El Evado and Seneca's roads, where his patrol car struck a bystander's vehicle and then slammed into a light pole. The car was split in half. Cuevas succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene. The female driver of the other vehicle was transported to a hospital for non-life threatening injuries. Now, the suspect is named Ryan Dwayne Turner Jr., he's 22-year-old resident of San Bernardino. He continued to flee before stopping his car at El Evado Road and Zuni Lane and attempting to escape on foot, says law enforcement. The pursuit didn't last long, and Turner was subsequently caught and taken into custody, said police. Now, Cuevas was a 6-year veteran of law enforcement who worked at the Victorville station for the last 3 years, according to KABC and the Sheriff's Department, of course. Turner was booked on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated and evading a peace officer and causing death or serious injury, said San Bernardino County Sheriff Shannon Dykes. Shannon Dykes said, quote, "I really have no words to describe this tragedy. Hector is the type of law enforcement officer that we all want to be. He was a grand and great protector and a great father, and we will be suffering his loss and supporting his family for quite some time." Now, vehicles from multiple law enforcement agencies escorted Deputy Cuevas's body in solemn procession across local freeways to the San Bernardino County Coroner's Office following the incident. Quote, "We currently do not know the exact circumstances surrounding the collision as of yet," said Shannon Dykes. He confirmed that an investigation in the crash was underway. "We are deeply saddened to hear about the passing of a San Bernardino County deputy," said the San Bernardino Police Officers Association in a statement on social media. They said, "Our thoughts and prayers are with their family, friends, and the entire agency during this difficult time. They made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, and their bravery will never be forgotten." And just stop it here real quick. I've seen that from the CHP, from various law enforcement agencies. Um, just so many law enforcement agencies are coming out and in support of the sheriff's department and giving their condolences. And it's sad. It really is. I go on. Ryan Dwayne Turner, the 22-year-old suspect who allegedly stole a car, then led deputies on a chase in Victorville that ultimately ended in a fatal crash, has since been charged with murder, officials announced now Wednesday. So just give you a real quick, I'm trying to make this short, but this is a long one. Monday it happens. Sheriff gave a press conference. Wednesday now, he's been charged with murder, and the district attorney on Wednesday, 2 days later, comes out and gives a press conference. The link to both those press conferences is in the description box. But now this is Wednesday. We're getting updates here. San Bernardino County District Attorney Jason Anderson announced multiple charges against Turner, including murder, auto theft, and fleeing from an officer. He is expected to be arraigned Thursday morning. He faces anywhere from 17 years to life in prison. A woman in another car who was not involved in the pursuit was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Now, the sheriff's department said Turner stopped the vehicle at Elevado Road and Zuni Lane and fled on foot, and he was quickly arrested. So during a press conference on Wednesday, officials said the pursuit lasted about 9 minutes, with speeds reaching over 100 miles per hour on surface streets. Those are residential streets, by the way. They say Turner drove recklessly and ran 4 red lights. Now, a day after the deadly crash on Tuesday, the Rialto Police Department issued a statement saying Turner has a history of fleeing from law enforcement. They said he has an extensive criminal arrest history and was involved in a high-speed chase with the Rialto, California Police Department on January 29th of 2024. That pursuit also resulted in a collision. During that incident, Turner was in possession of a reportedly stolen vehicle, and when they attempted to stop the vehicle, Turner fled. That police department said the pursuit reached speeds of 90 miles per hour on surface streets, again residential streets, traveling from Rialto to San Bernardino before reaching the intersection of Foothill Boulevard and Meridian Avenue. I know where that's at. At that intersection, an officer collided with another vehicle that entered the intersection. They said Turner fled but was later detained by the San Bernardino Police Department. While in San Bernardino police custody, officials said Turner attempted to flee from officers while handcuffed. For that incident in 2024, Turner was charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, grand theft auto, and felony evading. On February 22nd of last year, he entered a plea deal with the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office and pleaded no contest to grand theft auto, receiving a sentence of 16 months in county prison. All other charges were dismissed. Despite the sentence, Turner was released from custody in October of 2024 after only serving 8 months of his sentence pursuant to custody credits that were enacted in October of 2011, says the Rialto Police Department in a statement. Rialto Police Chief Mark Kling said if Turner wasn't given time served credit, Deputy Cuevas would still be alive. Quote, in October 2011, PC 4019 was enacted to give time served credits to felony suspects serving time in county jails. Because of this law, Ryan Turner was released from county prison after serving only half of his 16-month sentence. Before AB 109 and PC 4019 were enacted, there's a good likelihood that Ryan Turner would still be in state prison today and this deputy would still be alive. Ryan Turner's actions speak loudly that he has a habitual pattern of fleeing law enforcement because he fears no consequences, said Chief Kling. And there are a few points that I want to cover. So I've read comment after comment after comment on social media, and some of the comments are just downright cruel, just cold. Like, how do you even how does that, how do you even justify being that cruel? Some of the comments that I've read. And some of those comments are blaming the deputy. To which I say, what's the point? The man is just dead. He died in the accident. So you know, uh, but I'm going to look at it for a second. I want to address some of those comments. That's kind of why I waited so I could read the comments, kind of get things, kind of take it in. And they're blaming the deputy and saying, well, the deputy put everybody's lives at risk, 100 miles an hour, racing through the streets. Let's look at this for a second, because that's the biggest one that I see in terms of criticism is that people are saying, he was just driving however he wanted, 100 miles an hour down residential streets and hit this poor lady's car. And so let's look at that for a second. And maybe, and this isn't an attack or a criticism of Sheriff Shannon Dykes, but maybe the sheriff needs to sit down and relook at the pursuit policy and say, look, if it goes over speeds of this much, maybe 80 miles an hour or whatever. Maybe we need to just stand down and let 40 King, which is the helicopter, take over and follow the person. Because that's LAPD's policy. I see that on the news all the time where you see a pursuit and then all of a sudden the cops are gone, but the helicopter is still circling the car. And that's their policy is that, look, if it becomes dangerous, we're standing down. We got a helicopter. They'll follow the car or whatever. And sometimes they get away. But maybe the sheriff needs to sit down and look at that and say, look, we got 40 King, and we need to use 40 King from now on. And there's another video. I just thought of it. I don't know if I can find it, but where a San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputy was pursuing somebody and somebody was recording it. He goes over, I think it was railroad tracks or a hump in the road, but he went airborne, came down, and then crashed on the side of the road. Uh, it was non-life threatening injuries, but again, a pursuit that ends with this police car crashing. Maybe the sheriff needs to sit down and go, look, guys, if it goes over so many miles, we got 40 King, you know. But then again, let's look at the history of this guy who they were pursuing. GTA and a GTA in 2024 with Rialto Police Department that resulted in a crash. He was convicted. Now a GTA 2025, again, he runs from cops. So, what do? You got a guy that's habitually stealing cars and running from the police. Um, so, but do you let him go and say, this is a dangerous pursuit? But a lot of people are blaming the cop. And why don't you look at the guy that's stealing cars and running from the police? Why don't you look at him? Should the cop have been driving 100 miles per hour in a pursuit? I don't know. I can't answer that. I wasn't in the car. But let's say I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody on either side, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Let's say he was wrong for driving that fast. Maybe he should have stood down a little and said, I can't keep up with the guy or whatever. He made a mistake. Does that matter? It doesn't matter now because he's dead. He died in the accident. So all of that doesn't matter. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But in that instant, let's say, oh, yeah, he made a mistake. He was wrong. Okay, but let's look at it for a second. He wasn't violating somebody's rights. This wasn't an innocent handcuffed person that he was slapping. He wasn't shooting an unarmed person. He was chasing a guy with a habitual record of GTA. So he wasn't violating this guy's rights. Well, he's violating the rights of other people in the city. Blame that on the guy he was chasing. But we're past that. He wasn't, you know, committing any crimes per se. And you can't say traffic laws because this was an emergency situation. So he wasn't violating the California Vehicle Code nor the speed limit law because he's an emergency vehicle. You have an emergency. A guy stole somebody's car. And they said allegedly he was intoxicated. So you have DUI, GTA right there. So I guess what I'm saying to sum that up, he wasn't violating this suspect's rights, Ryan Turner. He wasn't violating his civil rights because this guy was committing a crime. He wasn't breaking the law. He was chasing a GTA suspect. Should he have been driving that fast? The lady that got hit, there are people who on social media who are saying, well, I was there and allegedly they were there. I was there and the lady said she didn't hear or see his lights or sirens. Maybe not. And there's times I've done that too. I've been driving and all of a sudden, an ambulance may come up with their siren not on, and then all of a sudden they hit it at the intersection. Woo, 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 woo. You're like, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, okay, I didn't see you. That happens sometimes in traffic. You get cars, you get loud, maybe you have your radio on, and all of a sudden, woo, 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 woo. And you're like, whoa, hold on, what's going on? Oh, here it comes. So that happens sometimes, you know? Maybe she didn't see it, the lights and sirens. But again, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm trying not to sit on God's throne and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm not saying the cop was wrong. Um, I'm just saying what people are saying on social media, and some of the comments are cruel. But what I'm saying is this Ryan Turner, he's the one that caused it all. This little punk that was already convicted of GTA, served 8 months in prison, got out and said, hey, I'm free again. Let's go steal some cars. Not even 6 months later. He got out in October. It's not even 6 months later. He's already at it again. So I'm not, but to end this, I'm sorry I talk so much, but this is really a big one. And I see so many comments and news stories and people on social media are going back and forth on this. At the end of the day, I was going to say something else and I forgot. But at the end of the day, you know, it just comes down to this. If you want to blame somebody for this incident, blame Ryan Turner because he's a little punk that got out of prison and went back to his crimes. He didn't learn anything while he was there. He wasn't rehabilitated. He didn't change. He's still a little punk, in my humble opinion. I want to know what you guys think. And be kind.